Help me get this movie out of my head. See, these are the notes I take. I don't need them because the movie is now festered in my head. Turbo. I did not like it. Uh, 4 or a 5. I mean, technically very good, so I have to give it a 5. But a 5 is still not a great rating. This movie was basically a movie Ratatouille. That's all it was. Okay, so here we go. It's about this guy named Tito, and he meets this snail. And does this sound at all familiar yet? Um, Maybe about Linguini meeting this rat, and the rat has some special talent, and Turbo gains this special talent, able to race, and like Linguini is in need of help, Tito's in need of help. Um, Same story so far. You've got this Chef Skinner in Ratatouille. Um, Posing issues. You've got Tito's brother in Turbo posing issues. And they convinced, and they conquer it, and it basically goes like in Ratatouille. I mean, in Ratatouille, Remy, the rat, has to stay hidden, but Turbo does not have to stay hidden because he gets entered in the Indy 500. I mean, talking about real life, that wouldn't happen. But this is Disney. Now, I will say, as I said, it was very technically complete. Uh, the 3D was good. It's actually the best 3D I've ever seen. That doesn't help the story. That doesn't help the fact that Disney basically copied Ratatouille. Now, granted, there is another bad guy in this, and that's the racing guy. And he may seem nice at first, but I guarantee you, I knew in my head from the nice moment we saw him, I thought he looks like a Gusteau for the first 15 minutes of the movie. And then as soon as Turbo is entered, the other racer is immediately against him. Immediately. And towards the end. And there's really not much I can say other than that about this movie because it got just not very well planned out, not thought out. Turbo's like brother or relation, whatever he is in this movie, the one who is fired from the plant with him. Very comical use of the plant, by the way. I liked the beginning. If they had kept uh, and they had a guy who was much like Remy's father in Ratatouille. If they had kept that in play, this might be getting a 6 or 7, but instead it's getting a 5. If they had kept that relation somehow in play, but they didn't. They totally discarded that after the first 15 minutes. Not of the brother or whatever he was, but of the plant and pretty much everything that made Turbo a snail. I will say I am relieved at the ending because this is something Disney doesn't do, and this is why it ultimately didn't get the 4 and rather was saved and got the 5. And spoiler here. Now, of course, his shell is damaged. It's an issue, just like when everyone finds out Remy is a rat. But they have to have a happy ending. So just like Ratatouille, when they end up opening their own restaurant, um, turns out that all the snails that were part of his crew. I'm not going to go into details all about that because I just want this reveal to be short. But there were like 4 or 5 other snails involved, and they're like part of his crew, and they all get new shells that have the superpower or that are like mechanical in some way and give them advantages as far as speed goes. Unlike the first race, you see, where Turbo's the clear winner. And Turbo supposedly doesn't have his powers anymore, so he's like in trouble. So he gets a nice new shell from Tito, but he has no powers. And then I was like, so that's it? 4 for sure. And then he gets his powers back at the end. The power to go super fast, and that's how the movie ends with a freeze frame with him being out in first place. So At least they had the decency to do that and change that. But again, that's still following in the steps of Ratatouille, which is why I thought Ratatouille was good. But Ratatouille also had developments. It had conflict like the father and the son. It had conflict like it even had conflict with Linguini. Like there was conflict with his brother, but it wasn't as well developed. What can I say? Basically, this is a knockoff of Ratatouille, and the ironic thing is, it's a Disney knockoff of a Disney film.